recognize myself for 5 minutes to follow up on some questions here. I actually want to start off, Mr. Goss, as kind of a follow-up with some of the questions that Mr. Good had asked earlier. And I know it's maybe a quick thumbnail sketch, or maybe it's something that you'd need to provide to the committee after the hearing's over. But talking through that hypothetical example of a person making $60,000 a year and what they pay in versus what they receive in benefits and how that impacts the Social Security Trust Fund. Can you elaborate on that a little bit? I know if you don't have at your fingertips a little bit more than what you answered to Mr. Good, maybe I'd ask you if you could kind of thumbnail sketch that over a 35-year career of paying in versus payments out at current life expectancy.
So we do have a couple of items up on the web that we redevelop pretty much annually. The money's worth ratios, which is just what we're talking about, the present value of the contributions you and your employer made relative to the amount of benefits you might expect, or the internal rate of return. What kind of rate of return would be required? Looking at the money's worth ratios, if we look at that compared to what the benefits are scheduled to be in the future, then those are in reasonable alignment. What we currently have, though, is a situation where our scheduled benefits are in excess of what are payable in the future based on the contributions that have been made and will be made in the future, largely because of the changing life expectancy, not life expectancy, but really largely because of the changing age distribution of the population.
Yep.
Now, and we can submit much more for the record on that. Thank you.
Yeah, and that may be something that we get some follow-up information or research on that, because to some degree it's kind of a math problem on Social Security. Is the amount of money going in has to equal or be greater than the amount of money going out to make through that process, and that there's two factors to that. One, the number of workers versus retirees and what's being paid in, and also the life expectancy. As you mentioned earlier, what was the life expectancy when Social Security was created and 65 was set as the age in which payment, or the full retirement payment was made? What was the life expectancy at that point in time?
I'd have to probably go back to the trustees report and pick that number up, but I can share with you this one, I think, interesting detail, which is back in 1983, at the time of our last major amendments, when we were foreseeing what would happen, we were projecting that by about 2015, 2018, before the pandemic, that life expectancy at age 65 would rise to, I believe the number was 16 or 16.1 years. It was much lower than that back in 1983 and earlier. And we were projected it would rise to about 16.1 years. Lo and behold, that turned out to be very accurate. So our projections about life expectancy and decline in mortality rates has been very, very accurate.
Okay, I was thinking life expectancy in 1937 was about 63 years, and that was kind of what I was trying to confirm. Versus today, life expectancy, as you mentioned, it's closer to 85, 86, depends on when you calculate it on the actuary tables, which has an impact on the amount of time that you have payments going out.
Very much so. We try to focus to a great extent on what life expectancy is as of, say, age 65 being important, because much of the improvement in life expectancy from many years back was because of a reduction of early childhood and infant mortality. So a lot of that restriction down to maybe only 60-something was because many people were unfortunately perishing at a very young age, even before they would enter the workforce. Right,
right. Shifting gears just a little bit, so it's correct that in 2033, the old age and retirement trust fund is going to be depleted, right? Run down.
The reserves depleted.
And at that point in time, what was the latest expectation or estimate of what the shortfall was? Was it in the 22 to 23% range?
A little bit less than that. I think we're at, 79% payable at that point for the OESI fund.
So, yeah, and I think there's some competing numbers between CBO and Social Security, which, sometimes that just depends on how you're estimated. And I guess my concern about that is that if nothing's done, somebody who's currently getting a $1,000 check a month is going to have their check cut to $790 if it's a 79% payable, right? If nothing changes between now and then. So that's the, I guess, the driving force and the concern, I think, on the part of a lot of folks, is that we need to step up and do something about this. We've got to make some changes in order to make sure that the folks that have paid in can get the payment out that they're expected. And that's the problem that we have a concern with.